In today's video, we're going to discuss if right now is a good time to come to Hawaii. So let's go. What is going on, YouTube? Greetings from beautiful, lush Waikiki. Hopefully you can see the beach a little bit behind me, but if not, we're going to go check it out in a little bit. Anyway, the title of today's video is, should I come to Hawaii now? And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to answer that question directly today, but what I am going to do is tell you what the current travel restrictions are here in Hawaii. And then we're going to go down to Waikiki. We're going to walk around the downtown area so you can get the overall feel and vibe of what's going on and see if that's something you'd be interested in joining. And then I'm going to head down to the beach and I'm going to tell you why I decided to come to Hawaii now. But first, it's early in the morning here. It's about 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. and I'm craving some coffee. Haven't had my coffee yet. Luckily for me, one of my subscribers reached out, Mary, and said, hey, I see you're in Waikiki. I've got a buddy that owns a coffee shop down there called Big Wave Dave's Surf and Coffee. She said he makes the best Thai coffee. I love Thai coffee, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna head to Big Wave Dave's Surf and Coffee and grab a Thai coffee and talk about travel restrictions and requirements for getting to Hawaii now. So let's go. Yay, we found it. Hopefully they actually do have Thai coffee here. I didn't actually see it on the menu when I looked on my phone app, so hopefully they still have that. Can I get a medium Thai latte?
Medium Thai latte. Did you want that iced or hot today?
All right. Woo. Got the Thai coffee. Oh, that's yummy, yummy, yummy. Can taste all the condensed milk. If you never had a Thai coffee before, they're pretty sweet, so if you don't like sweet drinks, you probably won't like a Thai coffee. But let's find a spot to sit down, enjoy the coffee, and talk about the travel requirements and restrictions to come to Hawaii right now. All right, got the Thai coffee. This is amazing, Barry. Thank you for the recommendation. Okay, so let's talk about the travel restrictions and requirements. So the first thing you need to do in order to take a trip to Hawaii is you need to register for an account on travelhawaii.gov. Basically, you upload your flight details and that creates a trip. Once that trip is created, then 72 hours before you fly, you gotta go get a COVID test. It has to be from an approved Hawaii COVID test vendor. They have a link there, you can click on it and you'll see where your test will be accepted from. If you don't get a COVID test, when you arrive in Hawaii, you'll have to quarantine for 10 days. It's a self-quarantine, but you'll have to do daily reports to the state of Hawaii on the status of your health. The next requirement that you have to do is 24 hours before you fly, you have to fill out a health questionnaire, basically asking if you've had a fever, if you feel sick. Once you fill out that questionnaire, the state of Hawaii will send you a little QR code. And when you go to check into your flight, there'll be some people there that'll scan your QR code so they know you did the health questionnaire. And that's it. That's all you have to do to get to Hawaii. I know some of you are gonna ask, well, what if I have the vaccine? So unfortunately, right now, the vaccine does nothing for you. Again, this is as of Tuesday, May 24th, I believe. So make sure you check the website to see if there's any updates to this information. Maybe at some point they'll accept the vaccine. A quick little side note, if you want to travel inter-island, so go from Oahu to the Big Island or Oahu to Maui or Kauai, you also have to have a COVID test 72 hours before you fly there, and then another one before you fly back. They do accept the vaccine instead of a test, but only if your vaccine was received in Hawaii, unfortunately. Okay, so it's still early in the morning, so I'm gonna wait a few hours and then we're gonna head down to Waikiki and check out the overall vibe to see if it's something you'd enjoy being a part of. Obviously, that'll be instant to you. I'll just snap my fingers and we'll be there. So as you can see, the moped rental places are open. That's actually the place that I went to yesterday to rent my moped for about $35 for the day. You can rent a moped. It's a great way to see the island. I highly recommend doing that, especially if you've never been here before. They'll give you a map on the streets you can go on, because you can't go on highways on mopeds. You don't need a motorcycle endorsement to ride a moped. I'm not sure if you know that. You just need a driver's license. It's a great way to see the island, and you'll get to see the most beautiful beaches in the world. You'll be able to get away from Waikiki. It's pretty awesome. If you've ever been to Hawaii before, especially Waikiki, you'll know that this is a fixture in Hawaii. This is the ABC store. So for a while, these ABC stores weren't open. Some of them still aren't open, but the ones down here in Waikiki are. Don't worry if you pass one up. You don't have to turn around and go back, because there is one literally about every 200 feet. There's an ABC store. All right, we're gonna stop here for a second. So I wanna show you this. So you'll see that the street splits off into two streets here. There's actually 3 streets that run parallel to Waikiki. You have Kalakaua over there, which runs right along the beach. You can see the beach from there. The street behind me is called Kahio. It's also kind of like Kalakaua, but a little bit less commercial. And then on the outskirts, you have a street called Alawai Boulevard, and it runs along a little canal that also runs parallel with Waikiki Beach. It's a really cool place to run. Just a little note from when I used to live here back in the day, back in the 90s, Kahio had the reputation of being kind of a red light district. They kept that stuff off Kalakaua. It doesn't anymore. It's family friendly, so you can take your family down there. But I highly recommend checking out all 3 of the streets that run parallel to Waikiki, and also the little side streets that connect those 3 streets. That's where you'll find all the mom and pop type of restaurants and things like that. It's pretty cool. We're gonna go down Kalakaua, the main street. Don't be like me and jaywalk. So it's about, like I mentioned, around 11:15 here. So all of the fancy stores aren't open yet. They are open. But if you come here at night, like the Chanel, the Gucci, the Dolce & Gabbana, they all have huge lines to get in. It's kind of crazy that people come to Hawaii to buy that kind of stuff. But you know, to each their own. Actually, it looks like the Bottega Veneta is open. Did I pronounce that correctly? But even in Waikiki, you still have mom and pop type shops, like this tattoo shop here, which is open. You can see, just wait for service. Like I mentioned, ABC stores friggin' everywhere. So real quick, I forgot that I haven't given you my own history in Hawaii. So I've spent a total of 9 years living on Oahu, which is the island we're on. I came here in 1994, my first military assignment. I was 19 years old. I stayed here until 98. I went to Italy for a couple years, and then I came back here. So I basically spent my entire 20s on Oahu, and why I always mention it as being kind of a home away from home for me. People ask me all the time, has it changed a lot? So this area I'm walking around right now in Waikiki, I'll be completely honest with you, it hasn't changed much. It's pretty much the same as it was when I was coming here as a young man. But the rest of this place has definitely changed. The rest of Oahu is almost unrecognizable to me, to be completely honest with you, other than obviously when you actually get to the beach, that's the same. It hasn't changed much. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. I was gonna wait to come down a side road, but I saw something kind of iconic that people who spent any time in Hawaii, especially in the military, will definitely recognize. So this is Moose's. This is kind of a legendary hole-in-the-wall pub that a lot of people go to. Obviously, it's in Waikiki. It's one of the legendary places here on Oahu that's been here forever. The most legendary place used to be a place called the Wave Waikiki, but unfortunately it closed a while back. So I guess Moose's is kind of the old guard when it comes to bars to go to here in Hawaii. I was never a big fan of Moose's, to be honest with you, but a lot of people love the place. So you'll see the Louis Vuitton already has a line. That line is like constant at the Louis Vuitton. There's a line there even when there's not COVID, but now obviously there's going to be a line there. So just know that when you come down to Waikiki, if you're planning on going to Louis Vuitton, it'll be pretty packed. Oops, so at a lot of intersections, they have these like vertical crosses. So we're going to cross and get on to the Waikiki beach side of Kalakaua Avenue. So you'll see a lot of people mask up outside. That's not a requirement here. You don't have to mask up outside. You do have to mask up inside. So just be aware of that when you come here, but you will see a lot of people masked up outside. Normally, when I come to Waikiki, I would go down to the beach using this access right here. It just goes straight down to the beach, but I'm gonna take you down a little bit further, continue the little walking tour of Waikiki and show you a little bit more of what's going on. This used to be one of my favorite shops. There's actually a couple of these in Waikiki, a couple Quicksilver shops. This is the small one, but back in the day, this was a really popular brand. Not so much anymore, but back in the day. This is another one that's new, but I used to go to Honolulu Cookie Company like way back in the day, but it was in this old crappy building, I think on Macaulay Avenue. Anyone who's familiar with Hawaii, but it looks like they're stepping it up. Let me try not to get hit here. But yeah, so, oh, let me show you something real quick. So this is a Menehune water truck. So Menehune are these little dwarf looking guys, kind of like leprechauns. They're kind of like the Hawaiian leprechaun. They're like these little magical guys that live in the rainforest. And there's a lot of really funny things about them. I can't remember any of them, but if you know about the Menehune, type down in the comment block, share the info with us. I can't remember exactly what the story is behind them, but I remember it's kind of leprechaun-y. So here we are, beautiful, famous Waikiki on a Tuesday, and there's a lot of people here. Always take off the slippers, that's what they call them in Hawaii, before you start walking on the sand, so you're not kicking sand up on people. Look at all of the freaking surfers out there. That is crazy, insane. Look at all the surfers. So we're gonna come down here and get the toes wet. Try not to get knocked over by any of the surfers. But as you can see, Waikiki on a Tuesday is freaking jumping. Oh, I just got the shorts wet. So I'm gonna take you to more secluded beaches in future videos because this really isn't my vibe. I love Waikiki. I like coming down here really early in the morning when there's nobody here, which, I mean, this is obviously super beautiful. You got Diamond Head behind me. But I'm gonna take you to even more beautiful beaches in the future. But I wanted you to see that Hawaii is open for business, man. You can rent surfboards, you can charter these boats to go out and sail around the island. You can do all kinds of things right now here in Hawaii. You know what? It's too busy here for me to sit down and explain to you the reasons I came to Hawaii. I'm getting hungry, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna snap my fingers and I'm gonna take you to one of my favorite little outdoor spots to eat here in Waikiki. So let's go. Can I get the Kalbi bimbap?
Mild, medium, spicy?
Let's go spicy. And a green tea. Okay, it was kind of busy at the restaurant, so figured I'd pull up a little spot underneath the banyan trees here, eat my lunch. Let me show you what I got here real quick. So that's a kind of a Korean barbecue place, and they have some really good kalbi. I don't know if you can see that. Actually, let me try it in front of you. Break out the chopsticks here. So I love kalbi steak. That's such a Hawaiian thing, even though it's Korean. Hawaiians love Korean style barbecue. See the rice, all the hot sauce in there. That is so good. I highly recommend Topped. It's really, really good. Okay, let me put this down for a second. That is so good. Got my green tea here. Also really good. All right, so let's talk about the reasons why I came to Hawaii. So the first reason is, despite what you saw at Waikiki, most of the normal tourist hotspots are pretty empty. So this is like a once in a lifetime chance to get to go to some pristine beaches, do some amazing hikes without the huge crowds. So that's the first reason. The second reason is it's much more affordable now than it has been in the past. For instance, my condo that I got on Airbnb for 2 months, I rented for $1,200 a month, which I know sounds like a lot to some of my budget conscious friends, but to have a condo, actually my condo is right, it's almost in this frame, it's a little bit over this way. I'm almost right in downtown Waikiki, and to have a condo on a short lease in that area, it would normally be $2,000, $2,200 a month. So it's about $1,000 cheaper than it normally would be. And the third reason is Hawaii is a great jumping off point to travel internationally, especially if you're going to Asia. I mentioned before that in July I'm headed to Thailand. I'm taking a Japanese air flight to Japan, and then from Japan to Thailand. So those are the reasons that I think that it is a great time to come to Hawaii right now. Thanks for watching. Do you mind if I film you for a vlog I'm doing? Okay. My YouTube channel is called 30 and a Wake Up. You'll see it. 30 and a Wake Up. You'll see it. You'll see yourself on there probably Thursday.
Okay, that's great.
Hello.